The power of solitude, why being single is a gift. In a world that constantly glorifies relationships, being single often feels like a curse. Society whispers that you are incomplete until you find someone. Movies, songs, and social media feed you the same lie, that happiness is only real when shared with another person. But the truth, the Stoic truth, is very different. Being single is not a curse, it's a powerful opportunity, a sacred period where you can finally meet the person who matters most, yourself. Stoic philosophy teaches us that freedom is the highest form of happiness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This is not loneliness, this is liberation. When you are single, you are not tied to anyone's moods, expectations, or opinions. You are free to design your life by your own values, not someone else's needs. Most people rush into relationships because they fear being alone. They mistake solitude for emptiness. But the wise understand that solitude is not the absence of love, it's the presence of peace. When you're single, you control your time, your mind, your focus. You don't have to explain your dreams or shrink yourself to fit into someone's comfort zone. You wake up every day with full ownership of your energy, and that is the foundation of personal power. Epictetus taught that the greatest slavery is emotional dependence. When you need someone to validate your worth, you've already surrendered your freedom. But when you are comfortable in your own company, no one can take your peace away. The single life becomes your training ground, where you learn independence, self-control, and resilience. You no longer chase love from others, you become love itself. Let's be honest, modern relationships often distract more than they inspire. People get lost trying to fix others when they haven't even understood themselves. They try to build forever with someone when they haven't yet built stability within. But when you're single, every ounce of energy can be invested in you. You can explore new skills, travel, read, build, and grow. You can shape your habits, sharpen your discipline, and design a life that reflects your purpose. Being single doesn't mean being disconnected from love. It means choosing quality over company. It's saying, I will not settle for half love or fake validation. I will wait until I meet someone who adds peace, not problems. Until then, you are whole on your own. You are enough. The Stoics believe that happiness comes from inner mastery, not external attachments. When you are single, you can focus on mastering yourself. You learn emotional balance, how to stay calm when things go wrong. You learn self-reliance, how to enjoy life without needing anyone to fill your emptiness. You learn focus, how to work for your goals without getting lost in distractions. These lessons make you unstoppable. Every strong person you admire once walked alone. The warriors, philosophers, artists, and visionaries, they all had to face solitude before success. They learned to turn silence into strength. The same silence you might now fear is the same silence that will make you powerful. When you embrace solitude, you begin to see the world differently. You stop chasing validation and start seeking purpose. You stop begging for attention and start building your empire. You stop worrying about who loves you and start focusing on who you are becoming. Remember, freedom is not about doing whatever you want, it's about having the discipline to choose what truly matters. When you are single, that freedom belongs entirely to you. No compromises, no emotional chaos, no drama, just peace. The Stoic approach to being single is simple. Use your freedom to strengthen your mind. Build your inner fortress. Cultivate gratitude for your independence. Use this phase not as waiting time, but as becoming time. Because when you finally become the kind of person who doesn't need anyone, you attract relationships that are built on love, not need. So, if you're single right now, don't curse your solitude. Celebrate it. This is your season to rise. Your solitude is not punishment, it's preparation. You are learning how to walk alone so that when someone does walk beside you, you'll do it from strength, not weakness. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not that we have a short life, but that we waste much of it." Don't waste your single years wishing for someone to complete you. Use them to complete yourself. Build the version of you that the future will thank you for. You have the freedom to shape your destiny, the silence to listen to your soul, and the space to grow without limits. That is not something to run from, that is something to be proud of. So stand tall in your solitude. Own it. Enjoy it. And remember, being single is not about being alone. It's about being free enough to choose who truly deserves to walk with you. The art of self-mastery, turning solitude into strength. When you choose to stay single, you are not choosing loneliness, you are choosing mastery. You are giving yourself the rare opportunity to understand who you truly are, without distractions, without noise, without anyone pulling your attention away from your growth. Solitude is the soil where greatness grows. Most people never get to know themselves because they are always surrounded by others. They jump from one relationship to another, hoping someone will fix their emptiness. But what they don't realize is, no one can fix what you refuse to face. Only silence can teach you who you are. Only solitude can show you your true power. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And this is the essence of staying single. You become your own master. You take responsibility for your emotions, your reactions, your discipline, and your peace. You no longer hand over control of your happiness to anyone else. When you are single, you have the gift of time to rebuild, to reflect, to evolve. You can wake up early, read, work out, meditate, and sharpen your mind without compromise. You can create habits that align with your vision. You can train your mind to stay calm under pressure. You can build inner peace that no breakup, rejection, or disappointment can destroy. This is what the Stoics called self-governance, the ability to rule your own mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. When you live by this principle, being single becomes the most empowering experience of your life. You stop complaining about what you lack and start using what you have. You stop waiting for someone to make you happy and start creating your own happiness. Let's be honest, relationships are not always bad. But entering one without first mastering yourself is a recipe for chaos. If you don't know your worth, you'll accept less than you deserve. If you can't manage your emotions, you'll destroy what you love. If you don't understand yourself, you'll always depend on others to define you. That's why the single phase is sacred. It's your training ground. You are building emotional intelligence. You're learning how to be alone without feeling empty, how to enjoy your own company, how to stay disciplined without external motivation. You are learning how to stand alone with peace and power. When you master this, you stop chasing temporary highs. You stop craving constant validation. You stop comparing your life with others. Instead, you find satisfaction in growth, pride in discipline, and joy in simplicity. You become so focused on your own evolution that loneliness turns into peace, and peace turns into power. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have little time, but that we waste much of it." Many people waste their single years wishing for love instead of preparing for it. They spend all their energy scrolling through social media, feeling jealous of couples, instead of building the kind of life that attracts genuine love naturally. But not you. You are learning the Stoic way, to use solitude as a weapon. Every day you spend single is a day to train your mind, upgrade your habits, and grow stronger. You are building your empire brick by brick. You are turning your quiet hours into an unshakable foundation. Freedom, after all, is not doing whatever you want. It's the ability to control yourself even when you could lose control. When you are single, you are free to test yourself, to push your limits, to fall and rise again without anyone's judgment. That's real freedom, inner freedom. The more you grow in solitude, the less you fear it. You start to realize that being single doesn't mean being unwanted. It means you have standards. You've chosen peace over chaos, growth over comfort, purpose over distraction. And that choice alone makes you powerful beyond measure. You begin to see how society manipulates people into thinking love is everything. But the truth is, self-mastery is everything. Because when you master yourself, you don't just find love, you attract it. And not just any love, the right love. The love that grows with you, not against you. In solitude, you'll face your demons, your fears, insecurities, and doubts. But that's where the transformation begins. The Stoics never ran away from pain. They used it as fuel for wisdom. They embraced discomfort to strengthen their spirit. When you're single, do the same. Don't run from your thoughts, confront them. Don't escape your emotions, understand them. Don't numb your pain, grow through it. Every moment alone is a chance to rise above your old self. It's a chance to reset your mind and redirect your focus toward what truly matters: your health, your purpose, your discipline, and your peace. Remember this, your single life is not a pause before the real story begins. It is the story. It's where you shape your destiny, where you build the kind of mindset that will carry you through every storm. You are not waiting for someone to complete you. You are preparing to meet the world as someone complete already. You are training to be emotionally independent, mentally strong, and spiritually balanced. That's what makes you unstoppable. So don't waste your solitude scrolling through illusions of perfect couples. Use it to build the kind of peace that no one can disturb. Use it to craft the version of yourself that you would fall in love with. Because when you love your own company, the right person won't complete you. They'll complement you. Stay single. Stay focused. Stay free. Your solitude is not your weakness. It's your superpower. Building the life you deserve. Freedom as your foundation. When you stay single, you're not just avoiding heartbreak, you're building a life on your own terms. This is the stage where your freedom becomes your foundation. You are not distracted by constant drama, mixed emotions, or the need to please someone else. Instead, you have time, your most powerful asset. Time to create, time to grow, time to become someone you're proud of. The world tells you that happiness comes from being loved by others. But the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they taught the opposite. True joy comes from living in alignment with your own values. You are not supposed to be shaped by someone else's expectations. You are supposed to rise by your own principles. When you are single, you have the chance to do exactly that, to align your life with your purpose. No one is holding you back. You don't have to compromise your goals to keep someone comfortable. You don't have to dim your light to make someone else feel secure. You don't have to apologize for being ambitious, driven, or different. You are free to chase what sets your soul on fire. This is where you build your empire. Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." And that's what your single years are for, learning how to live on your own terms. Learn how to make your own decisions without needing validation. Learn how to handle challenges without begging for help. Learn how to find joy in simplicity. Because once you master this, you become unshakable. Most people enter relationships without a strong foundation. They look for love before they build stability. They look for connection before they know themselves. That's why so many relationships collapse. Not because of bad love, but because of weak individuals who depend on each other to survive emotionally. When you build your life first, you never fall into that trap. Your single phase is your preparation. You are preparing your mind to handle pressure. You are preparing your emotions to stay steady under chaos. You are preparing your soul to remain grounded in peace. This is how warriors are made, in solitude, not in comfort. Don't let society rush you. Don't let your friends or family make you feel like you're behind because you're not married or in a relationship. You are not behind, you are building something most people will never have, inner freedom. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's your task right now. Define who you want to become, then design your life around it. Maybe you want to build a business, create art, write, travel, or learn a new skill. Do it. You owe yourself that much. Don't wait for someone to join you before you start living. Start now. Because the truth is, when you build yourself, you automatically attract better. You attract better people, better opportunities, better energy. You no longer chase what isn't meant for you. You stop trying to fit into small places. You stop begging for love from people who don't even love themselves. When you're single, every day is an open door to growth. You can spend your mornings in silence, your afternoons in creation, your evenings reflecting on your progress. No noise, no drama, just focus. That's when you discover your real potential. The Stoics believed in the power of intentional living. They taught that every moment of your life should serve a purpose. So ask yourself daily, is what I'm doing today moving me closer to who I want to be? If not, change direction. You owe it to yourself to live deliberately, not accidentally. Being single gives you that freedom to start over as many times as you need. You can move cities, change careers, evolve spiritually, rebuild physically without having to explain yourself to anyone. That's not loneliness, that's liberation. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. Freedom requires discipline. If you misuse your freedom, it becomes chaos. If you use it wisely, it becomes your empire. That's why this phase of your life is sacred. You're learning to use your freedom as fuel, not as distraction. You're learning to stay consistent, to wake up early, to build momentum, to keep promises to yourself. That's what makes freedom meaningful, the discipline behind it. When you master this balance, freedom with discipline, you become unstoppable. You stop being controlled by impulses, desires, and opinions. You move with purpose, not emotion. You become like a stoic warrior, calm, focused, powerful, and free. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Stop overthinking what your life should look like. Just build it. Every workout, every book you read, every hour of silence, they are bricks in the foundation of your freedom. Keep stacking them. And one day when you look back, you'll realize something beautiful, that your single years weren't a pause before love. They were the most important chapter of your life. The chapter where you met yourself, built yourself, and learned to love yourself so deeply that you no longer needed anyone to complete you. That's when you'll truly understand what freedom means. It's not about isolation, it's about creation. It's about designing your destiny with your own hands. It's about realizing that you are enough, not because someone says so, but because you've proven it to yourself. So stay single. Keep building. Keep growing. Keep rising. Your solitude is your strength. Your focus is your advantage. And your freedom, that's your crown. Wear it with pride. The freedom to evolve, becoming who you're meant to be. There comes a moment in everyone's life when they realize that solitude is not loneliness, it's transformation. Staying single gives you the rare freedom to evolve without interruption. It's the space where you can reinvent yourself, the silence where you can finally hear your own voice. The world keeps telling you to find the one, but the truth is, before you find anyone, you must find yourself. Because how can you share your life if you don't even know who you are? How can you love someone else if you haven't yet learned how to love yourself? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's the code of the Stoic. When you are single, you finally have the freedom to practice that, to demand more from yourself, to push beyond your limits, to hold yourself accountable without needing anyone to motivate you. You stop being a follower and start being your own leader. This phase of your life is about transformation. You are shedding the layers of who you were taught to be so that you can become who you were meant to be. You are learning that solitude isn't a void, it's a classroom. Every quiet night teaches you self-control. Every lonely morning trains your patience. Every unanswered text builds your independence. This is how greatness is born, not in noise but in silence. Being single gives you freedom, but more importantly, it gives you the responsibility to use that freedom wisely. You can waste it chasing temporary pleasures, or you can use it to build permanent power. You can drown your time in distractions, or you can direct it toward your destiny. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." When you are single, you finally get to choose your circle wisely. You can surround yourself with thinkers, dreamers, creators, people who elevate your mind rather than drain your spirit. You no longer have to compromise your energy for the wrong company. That's a blessing most people never realize until it's too late. Use this time to upgrade your environment. Build a routine that feeds your soul. Early mornings, focused work, long walks, deep reading. These habits may seem small, but they're the steps that lead to mastery. The more disciplined your solitude becomes, the more powerful your future relationships will be, because you'll enter them from strength, not desperation. Epictetus taught that no man is free until he learns to command himself. That's the core of this journey. When you're single, there's no one to blame for your failures and no one to credit for your success. It's all you. You become the creator of your destiny, the master of your emotions, the architect of your peace. That kind of responsibility can be terrifying at first, but it's also the purest form of power. Remember, freedom is not a gift, it's a test. The world will test your discipline, your patience, your focus. It will tempt you to waste your solitude, to run back to comfort, to chase the easy path. But the Stoic inside you must rise. You must remind yourself that comfort is the enemy of growth. Every time you choose discomfort, reading instead of scrolling, working instead of sleeping, meditating instead of complaining, you win another battle within. When you stay single, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You start asking deeper questions. What kind of life do I want? What kind of energy do I bring into a room? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? These questions reshape you. They strip away the superficial and force you to live with purpose. You become more selective, with your time, your focus, your peace. You realize that not everyone deserves access to your mind. You stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand your vision. You stop chasing people who can't meet your energy. You stop begging for love, because you've already found it within yourself. That's the beauty of freedom. It gives you the power to choose quality over quantity. You no longer need 10 friends to feel valuable. You no longer need a partner to feel worthy. You are enough as you are, strong, complete, and whole. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time talking about what a good man should be. Be one. Don't just dream about your ideal self, build him. Use your solitude as a forge. Every challenge you overcome, every discipline you practice, every peaceful moment you protect, they all shape you into that version. You are not missing out by being single, you are leveling up. You're learning how to control your thoughts, manage your emotions, and create your peace. You're learning how to live without craving. You're learning how to say no to what drains you and yes to what grows you. You're learning the art of stillness in a world addicted to noise. And soon you'll notice something powerful. The more you grow, the fewer people you need. The quieter your life becomes, the clearer your mind feels. The less you chase, the more you attract. You stop trying to fit into small lives because you're too busy building something bigger. The Stoics taught that real happiness doesn't come from external love, it comes from internal order. When your inner world is in harmony, your outer world naturally aligns. You no longer chase relationships to fill a void, You attract relationships that match your peace. So evolve. Use your single life as your foundation for greatness. Build the kind of character that commands respect. Build the kind of mindset that never breaks. Build the kind of peace that nothing can disturb. One day, when the right person walks into your life, you'll meet them as a whole being, not a half searching for completion. You'll walk beside them, not behind them. You'll love from strength, not from need. That's the Stoic way. That's the powerful truth of staying single and enjoying your freedom. The strength of independence. You don't need anyone to validate you. There's a silent kind of strength that few people ever master, the strength of independence. It's not loud, it's not arrogant, and it doesn't seek attention. It's calm, confident, and self-assured. It's the kind of power that grows in solitude, when you stop needing approval, stop begging for love, and stop seeking validation from others. Staying single teaches you this strength better than anything else. It forces you to depend on yourself, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. When there's no one to lean on, you learn to stand tall. When there's no one to motivate you, you learn to push yourself. When there's no one to comfort you, you learn to heal yourself. And in that process, you become unbreakable. Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That one thought reveals how trapped most people are. They live to impress others, to be liked, to be chosen, but in doing so they lose themselves. When you are single, you finally have the power to break free from that trap. You stop performing for the world. You stop filtering your personality to fit expectations. You stop pretending to be happy just to look okay. You learn to live authentically, not for applause but for peace. You don't need someone to tell you you're beautiful, worthy, or enough, because you already know it. You've spent enough time alone to realize your value doesn't depend on external voices. That's not arrogance, that's awareness. It's the same kind of awareness the Stoics pursued their entire lives. The understanding that happiness lies within, not outside. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, stop caring what others think. Stop letting opinions chain your freedom. When you're single, you have the opportunity to live according to your truth, to follow your instincts, your purpose, your inner compass, even if others don't understand it. Think about how much energy people waste trying to please everyone. They alter their personality, hide their emotions, and settle for less just to avoid rejection. But rejection is nothing compared to regret, the regret of betraying yourself just to be accepted. The Stoic doesn't fear rejection because he stands firm in who he is. He knows that peace is better than approval. When you embrace independence, you stop expecting anyone to complete you. You start giving yourself everything you once begged for: love, focus, forgiveness, patience, discipline. You stop waiting for someone to save you and start becoming your own hero. You realize that the relationship you have with yourself is the longest and most important one you'll ever have. Being single gives you the time and freedom to cultivate that relationship. You learn how to enjoy your own company. You take yourself out. You travel alone. You dream big without waiting for someone's permission. You build a life that excites you, not because it looks good on social media, but because it feels right in your soul. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And that's what independence truly is, freedom born from courage. It takes courage to walk alone when everyone else is running toward attachment. It takes courage to choose peace over validation. It takes courage to say, "I am enough," and mean it. When you depend on others for happiness, you live as a prisoner. Every argument, every disappointment, every rejection shakes you. But when you depend on yourself, you become untouchable. You no longer crumble under judgment. You no longer lose sleep over who stayed or who left. You move with quiet confidence because you know your worth isn't tied to anyone's opinion. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself or close off from love. It means you choose from strength, not from fear. You choose people because they add value, not because you can't live without them. You love without losing yourself. That's real freedom, to connect without dependence, to care without attachment, to love without losing peace. Your independence is not loneliness, it's self-respect. It's knowing that your happiness is your responsibility. It's realizing that every time you rely on someone else to make you feel whole, you give away your power. But when you reclaim that power, you become unstoppable. The Stoics believed that external things, money, fame, relationships, are indifferent. They can add comfort, but they cannot define you. What defines you is your character, your discipline, your ability to stay centered no matter what happens. That's the kind of person solitude creates. Someone grounded, steady, and self-contained. So, the next time you feel lonely, remind yourself, you are not alone. You are in training. Every hour you spend building yourself, every day you spend mastering your emotions, every week you spend chasing growth, you are becoming the kind of person others look up to. And when you finally meet someone worthy of you, you'll love them differently. You'll love without fear, without dependency, without desperation, because you'll already be whole. Until then, keep building your independence. Protect your energy. Guard your peace. Keep walking alone with pride. Because every step you take alone is a step toward mastery. Stay single. Stay strong. Stay free. The peace of solitude, finding calm in a noisy world. There's a kind of peace that most people never experience. The peace that comes from being alone, yet completely content. In a world obsessed with noise, attention, and validation, solitude has become rare. But for those who embrace it, solitude becomes sacred. It becomes a place of healing, reflection, and pure strength. Staying single isn't just about avoiding relationships. It's about discovering the beauty of silence. It's about learning that you don't need constant communication to feel connected, or endless entertainment to feel alive. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When you are single, you have the space to build that inner retreat, a sanctuary within yourself. The world can be chaotic outside, but inside you remain still. That's where peace lives, not in another person, not in material possessions, but in the stillness of your own mind. Most people fear solitude because it confronts them with their own thoughts. They run from silence because silence exposes the truth about who they are, what they fear, and what they've been avoiding. But the Stoic doesn't run. He faces his thoughts, accepts them, and transforms them. He understands that the mind, once mastered, becomes his greatest ally. When you stay single, you can finally hear your own mind without interference. You can analyze your habits, your beliefs, your pain, and your purpose. You can see yourself clearly. And once you know yourself, no one can control you. Seneca wrote, "If you want to be loved, love yourself first." That's what solitude teaches you. It teaches you self-acceptance. It teaches you to treat yourself with kindness, patience, and respect. You begin to see that the peace you were always chasing from others was within you all along. Being single gives you time to rebuild your energy. Relationships, especially the wrong ones, can drain your soul. But solitude recharges you. It allows your mind to rest, your emotions to heal, and your vision to sharpen. You become more aware, more focused, more at peace with the world and with yourself. When you wake up alone and the world is still quiet, that's your power hour. That's when you reconnect with your purpose. You meditate, journal, breathe, or simply think. No pressure, no performance, just presence. This is how you cultivate peace in a world that thrives on distraction. Most people don't realize that peace isn't something you find. It's something you create. It's a result of discipline, clarity, and detachment. The Stoics practiced ataraxia, a state of inner calm, free from disturbance. And that's what solitude gives you, a chance to practice calmness daily. You start to notice that you don't react as quickly. You stop chasing validation. You stop getting upset over small things. The little dramas of the world lose their grip on you because you've found something more powerful: stillness. Epictetus taught, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Solitude helps you see that truth. You begin to realize that most of your anxiety isn't caused by what happens, but by how you think about it. When you sit alone and reflect, you train your mind to see things as they are, not worse than they are. You become rational, calm, and centered, like a mountain in a storm. And this peace doesn't mean you disconnect from the world, it means you interact with it differently. You don't absorb chaos anymore, you observe it. You don't get pulled into meaningless noise, you stay rooted in clarity. You start living with intention instead of reaction. When you are single and at peace, you no longer fear being alone. You begin to prefer it, not because you hate people, but because you value your energy. You understand that peace is priceless, and not everyone deserves access to it. You protect your time and guard your emotions like treasures. That's what true strength looks like. The Stoics believed that the greatest victory is victory over the self. When you can control your mind, your emotions, and your reactions, you have already conquered life. And solitude gives you the training ground to do exactly that. So don't fill your single life with distractions. Fill it with awareness. Don't chase excitement, seek balance. Don't crave noise, appreciate silence. Because in that silence, you'll find wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This is the essence of peace. It's not about controlling the world, it's about mastering your response to it. The world may misunderstand your calmness. They may call it detachment or coldness. But that's fine, because peace isn't for everyone to understand. It's for you to experience. It's for you to protect. So, stay single and guard your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Peace is the foundation of clarity. Clarity is the foundation of purpose. And purpose is the foundation of freedom. You don't need chaos to feel alive. You don't need noise to feel connected. You don't need constant attention to feel valuable. What you need is you, whole, calm, and aware. So breathe. Slow down. Let the world rush by if it must. You have nothing to prove. You've found something far more powerful than attention. Tranquility. Stay single. Stay still. Stay free. The true meaning of freedom. Freedom. It's the word everyone uses, but few truly understand. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, chasing pleasure, chasing people, chasing the next thrill. But that's not freedom. That's dependency disguised as choice. Real freedom isn't about living without rules, it's about living without chains. And one of the greatest chains in the modern world is emotional dependency. The constant need for approval, validation, and connection. That's what enslaves the mind. When you stay single and learn to enjoy your freedom, you begin to see that life is not about possession. It's about peace. You don't need to own someone's love to feel valuable. You don't need constant company to feel alive. You don't need attention to feel seen. You begin to understand that your soul is already whole, it just needed space to breathe. The Stoics taught that true freedom starts with self-mastery. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that for a second. You can live alone and still be a prisoner, if your thoughts control you, if your emotions rule you, if your fears dictate your choices. But you can also live in the middle of chaos and still be free, if your mind belongs only to you. That's the freedom you must seek, not freedom from people but freedom from attachment. Not freedom from love but freedom from need. When you reach that level of peace, you become unstoppable. When you stay single, you reclaim your time. And time is the currency of freedom. You no longer waste it explaining yourself to people who don't understand you, or proving your worth to those who never cared. You use that time to build yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You wake up and do what matters to you. You work on your craft, you push your limits, you read, you think, you grow. Every day becomes a step toward mastery. And the more mastery you gain, the freer you become. Because the person who depends on nothing fears nothing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And that's what being single gives you. Time that others waste on meaningless drama, you invest in your evolution. You learn to live with purpose, not distraction. Freedom also means the power to walk away from anyone, anything, or any situation that doesn't align with your peace. When you are emotionally independent, you no longer tolerate disrespect. You no longer chase people who don't reciprocate. You no longer beg for attention because your attention has value. That's true freedom, when you no longer seek from the outside what you already possess within. But let's be clear, being single isn't about rejecting love. It's about rejecting dependency. It's about building yourself so completely that love becomes a choice, not a need. You'll love deeper because it's genuine, not desperate. You'll connect stronger because it's peaceful, not possessive. The Stoics believed that the highest good was virtue, living according to reason, not emotion. Freedom, for them, was the ability to live by principle rather than impulse. And that's what solitude teaches you. It gives you the space to align your life with values, not moods. You begin to see that not every desire deserves action, and not every emotion deserves expression. You learn to pause, to think, to respond, not react. That calm control over yourself is what separates a free man from a slave to his impulses. In your single journey, you'll face moments of loneliness. That's natural. But loneliness is not a punishment, it's preparation. It's teaching you to enjoy your own company. It's making you comfortable with silence so that no one can use your fear of it to control you. When you sit in silence long enough, you realize something profound. You are not alone, you are with yourself. And when that relationship becomes strong, every other connection you make will be healthier, clearer, and more meaningful. Seneca said, "He who is contented with himself has done the greatest thing in the world." That's the truth most people run from. They keep searching for happiness in others because they never took the time to build it within. But once you do, you become unshakable. Freedom also means letting go of expectations, attachments, and illusions. The Stoics often meditated on impermanence, the understanding that everything and everyone in life is temporary. That's not pessimism, it's liberation. Because when you accept that nothing is permanent, you stop clinging. You stop fearing loss. You start living in gratitude for every moment you have. When you stay single, you can train this perspective every day. You can detach from what's temporary and connect to what's eternal, your values, your peace, your purpose. That's the essence of Stoicism, inner stability in a changing world. Imagine waking up one morning with no fear of losing anyone, no anxiety about approval, no craving for validation, just calm acceptance. That's not loneliness. That's enlightenment. That's the kind of peace that makes kings bow and chaos quiet. Being single allows you to reach that level of emotional clarity. You no longer rush through life trying to fill a void. You understand that the void was never there, it was created by illusion. You were never incomplete. You were simply distracted from yourself. Once you taste this kind of freedom, you can't go back. You'll protect it fiercely. You'll guard your solitude like sacred ground. Not because you hate connection, but because you now understand its worth. You'll never settle for relationships that cost you your peace. You'll never compromise your truth for temporary comfort. Freedom doesn't mean you close your heart. It means you open your mind. You become aware. You choose relationships out of love, not fear. You connect because you want to share your peace, not because you're searching for it. That's what being single is truly about, preparing you to meet the world as a whole person. Not half of someone waiting to be completed, but a full being who can give without losing, love without clinging, and walk away without breaking. And maybe one day you'll meet someone who understands your kind of freedom, someone who respects your solitude, not tries to erase it. But even if you don't, you'll still be happy. Because your happiness doesn't depend on anyone anymore. That's the highest form of love, the one that starts with you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's what your single life should be, a celebration of being alive, not waiting for someone else to complete it. Freedom is not about avoiding commitment, it's about choosing it wisely. It's about knowing that you don't need anyone to define you. You already are complete, powerful, and whole. So stay single and enjoy your freedom, not as an escape but as an awakening. Let your solitude sharpen you. Let your peace guide you. Let your discipline elevate you. Because when you learn to live freely within yourself, no one can ever cage you again. Freedom is not found outside you. It is built, breath by breath, inside your own mind.